Hey, what is going on, guys? Hope you guys are having a great day. I definitely am. Today, particularly this afternoon, I just recently finished up on Uncharted Lost Legacy. Yeah, guys, I'm really enjoying myself. I finally took the plunge. Don't know why I avoided it for so long, but I finally chose to, pick up PS Plus and thought to myself, let me try a number of these games that are available here on the package, and I was genuinely surprised how much I enjoyed the games that were available there and the amount of options that were available to me. Very, very interesting stuff, and there's actually a really number of interesting titles that are there that are actually already on my wish list. A number of those games were games that I've been eyeing for some time and just waiting for the perfect time, waiting for a favorable sale when I feel like finally picking up those titles. And Uncharted Lost Legacy was actually one of those games that I was planning to pick up actually quite a while ago. But a part of the reason why I actually didn't end up picking it up was because as soon as they released the new special that was over on the PlayStation 5, when they essentially remastered it and made the Uncharted games specifically for the PlayStation 5, it did that entire package thing. They essentially changed and merged Uncharted 4 with Uncharted Lost Legacy, making it into one package. So you no longer had the option to be able to buy the game individually. So when this option came up and I thought, let me take the plunge and get into PS Plus, I was like, hey, two birds, one stone. Be able to play a couple of games that I'm genuinely interested in, just have a good time and enjoy myself, man. And I definitely am. And so we're going to definitely get into a nice, smooth, easy little Patience Gamer review right here. Of course, I'll consider if you're looking over to buy the game or, just play it on PlayStation Plus, I'll give you all the information that you do need. We're going to follow the regular and known protocol and we'll break this game down incrementally. Take it easy, sit back and relax. Let's get right into the analysis. Now on this one, I'm going to get right into the meat and bones of the entire situation. I'm going to start off right with the gameplay. Now, if you've played an Uncharted game before, maybe you've played a Naughty Dog game, one of the more recent ones, including The Last of Us and, of course, the Uncharted games and the Uncharted collection, the gameplay is going to be very, very familiar with you, and it's going to be something you know and understand completely. If we're taking Uncharted 4 and Uncharted Lost Legacy, it's exactly the same thing. If you're to consider this entire game and package, it's essentially pretty much extended standalone DLC. There really wasn't a need to install this title as a standalone, but they chose to do so. I think it was actually to involve more people and to get more people involved with their multiplayer experience and, get a little extra paper on the side, of course. But definitely that's the situation there. Nothing crazy. In terms of, play time, we're going to go deeper into that in the value section. But in terms of the gameplay, it's the gameplay that you know. And if you've enjoyed playing it in the previous Uncharted games, your opinion on it is definitely not going to change. Now, my thoughts on the, essential gameplay loop of the loop that Uncharted provides you is, of course, it's the exploration. You looking and moving around, the climbing, and then, of course, the action and the set pieces. Now, what I will say is that I'd say the best way for you to enjoy and the most, how do I put it, the way in which you'll be able to enjoy the entire Uncharted experience the most is by looking at it as a roller coaster. And by that, I mean, as long as you stay on the path and look for the path and stay on the path that Uncharted and Naughty Dog have laid out for you, you're definitely going to have a great time in the experience. Consider this roller coaster. If you ensure that you are safely within the constraints of the safety belt and inside the roller coaster, you're definitely going to have yourself a great time. But unfortunately, if you wear off and take some chances, you're going to be unfortunately punished for that, and that's the case over here. Now, I understand if you're somebody who's been playing a myriad of games and particularly perhaps enjoys RPGs where player choice is celebrated. It can be a liberating experience, but this is definitely not that type of game. It's definitely much more of a roller coaster. The only area where you could say that they give you an amount of freedom is in the combat arenas. Now, in the combat arenas, you can, defeat your enemies in any way that you see fit. But of course, stealth, unfortunately, is only going to take you too far because they are very little to no silenced weapons. Now, I'd heard other people talking about the multiple silenced weapons, available in Lost Legacy, and they said it was a great and welcome addition. I'll be absolutely honest with you. The only time I found a silenced weapon was towards the end of the game, when it didn't really even matter, because there isn't enough silenced ammunition for me to defeat every single person in the compound. Eventually you'd be forced to go loud, so you don't really have a choice in the matter. If you're thinking about this, I'm particularly thinking of the helicopter scene towards the end when you're trying to retrieve the tusk. You have to destroy the helicopter, and the only way to do so is by using an RPG. Not a whole lot of freedom is unfortunately given to you. So as I said, returning to that analogy, as long as you remain within the constraints of the roller coaster, you will have a good time. This is essentially an action Saturday, Friday night blockbuster that you sit back, relax, and enjoy. You don't put too much emphasis and too much thought into the plot and too much thought into everything, and that is the best way in which you can enjoy the experience. Now, I'll be honest with you. Initially, I had a personal beef with Uncharted, and I'll explain to you what my issues were with the entire series as a whole. My view on Uncharted was that it was essentially too basic for the package that it offers you. Too basic in terms of the climbing. The climbing is very bare bones. It's alright, it's serviceable, but it's very bare bones, and it's a substantial part of the game. Other part was the gameplay. In my opinion, there wasn't necessarily a huge issue with the gameplay, but the issue that I had is that there was no progression or growth in terms of your character. I understand that such things are more prevalent in RPGs, role-playing games, but in action-adventure games, leveling up and upgrading and gaining new abilities is an important part of the experience, and Uncharted chose to not do that, with you being able to pick up random weapons at either time, and you don't get better at the game. By this I mean your character doesn't improve or get stronger by the end of the game. It literally depends completely on you and your skills as a combatant. That was essentially my issue with it, and the game that I immediately compared it to was Tomb Raider, the reboot that was recently created and released by Square Enix. And I was saying, compared to this game in terms of progression and growth, it's much more palpable in the Tomb Raider reboot. And that was the issue that I had with it. But then I realized the biggest issue here is that these are two different types of experiences. The Tomb Raider one is definitely an action-adventure game, just like Uncharted, of similar genres and everything, but it definitely does rather focus on a different style of it, and by this I mean takes a more so generic action-adventure style that is typically very common in this genre that we're talking about, in the action-adventure style. Now, while both of these games are similar in terms of style and execution and, the main characters, the only main significant difference is that Nathan Drake is a man and Lara Croft is a woman, there's a huge difference in the style in which Naughty Dog and Square Enix essentially tackle their games. While both are linear titles and you could say that they are both a roller coaster experience, Uncharted take a completely different style by focusing a whole lot more on the visuals. Now, in terms of the gameplay, it definitely is on the bare bones style, and I understand that we haven't necessarily gotten to the world section, but I'd say it would have to be fused with the gameplay because they typically definitely go hand in hand when we're talking about an Uncharted experience. The visual style and the introduction, the usage of the world is integral to the entire Uncharted experience. Visual storytelling is constantly used, using the world and the visuals in the world, using markers such as light and things, are constantly telling you which direction in which you should go. So it's a pivotal part of the design in a whole. Even from the level design, every single aspect of the game is directly linked to the world, and this is where I would say it makes up for it, because the visuals of the Uncharted games are top-notch. When an Uncharted game is released, it is probably the top dog, usually in terms of graphics and visual fidelity. Something that's very, very well executed and something that's quite appreciated here. Uncharted Lost Legacy definitely does maintain the quality that was presented in Uncharted 4, and it maintains that standard. These guys definitely know how to make a backdrop a vista or a landscape look absolutely breathtakingly gorgeous. And this makes playing in these worlds and playing in these beautiful environments that much more exciting. The bullets flying, the effects, all of these things working together in tandem give for a very beautiful and breathtaking experience. Now guys, understand this. I'm not trying to make excuses for the entire experience or say that, hey, it is what it is. No, that's definitely not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we should look at what the developers were trying to achieve with the game and not essentially dislike it for what we want the Uncharted and gameplay experience to be. Yes, there definitely is no progression, no upgrade system, so there is no growth essentially in the entire experience. As I said, the best way to treat the Uncharted games and the Uncharted series is like a blockbuster Sunday, Saturday, Friday night movie. Sit back and relax and just enjoy the experience, because whatever you did in the previous combat experience is not going to affect you now. All that truly matters is the skills and the things that you've learned from playing this game for the amount of hours that you've played. And it's definitely, seen in that way. There's no player choice or anything of that style. It's just the way that they choose to do it. So if I were to compare it to other games, I would have to say that the gameplay is just solid. The game looks absolutely gorgeous, especially when you're in those shootouts, but compared to other experiences, I definitely will say that there is quite a bit to be desired in terms of the combat. Now, if I were to compare it, I would be hard pressed to say that it doesn't do the same thing that other perhaps other first person shooters do in terms of depth in that range, but it does definitely do enough. Now let's go over little ragtags and little other knickknacks and other things that may interest you in this in terms of the gameplay experience. Considering the music is definitely solid. They definitely do have some welcome additions that fits to the new India theme. Of course, this game is set in India, and you'll be looking for a special tusk that has some special relation and sentimental value to the main character of Chloe that you are playing as now. It's no longer Nathan Drake. His story has come and gone, and it has finished. So in terms of the music, it is good, it's fitting, and it hits hard. Of course, some of the soundtracks from the original experience are reused over here, but they are welcome. Best to treat this game as a standalone extra DLC, just so you can have some more time with Sam and have some more time with the established characters that we already have and know and care about in the Uncharted series. Definitely cool. So in terms of the user interface, it's the same one that you played with in Uncharted 4, pretty much exactly the same, no real changes to that. It's just that you don't have Nathan Drake's journal and such. So yeah, in terms of the user interface, you always know what's going on at the time. Of course, there's no mini-map due to the gameplay design is kind of the point to not have a map, and I'd say the game is definitely better for it. Now, in terms of the story, I've already mentioned it before, but you will be playing as Chloe Fraser and playing alongside Nadine Ross and Sam Drake towards the end. It's essentially the duo of these two ladies. It's essentially the two of them fighting the patriarchy against Ashiv. Tell us his name? Bloody Asaf. Apologies. He wasn't it's not that he wasn't memorable, but didn't really talk or deal with him that much, and he's definitely going to be one of those forgettable villains that you deal with in the Uncharted games. There definitely are some more memorable ones, such as Rafe, but it's a generally shorter experience, so he doesn't have that much depth to him. Just that he's not uncharacteristically, but he's the typical movie villain that you expect to see who's the bad guy and who's the bad guy because he's the bad guy. It's essentially that type of situation, bro. No need to take it too seriously. It's just an excuse for you to go on one more adventure with these characters that you know and care about, and it's cool to see them return. We haven't seen Chloe Fraser since Uncharted 3, back there when we're dealing with the debacle of the Ring and Charlie Cutter. She returns here, and of course she is now the main character, Nathan Drake being pushed to the wayside. She does a solid job. What I will say that maybe we can consider a complaint is that here is essentially Nathan Like, to be honest, in terms of her character and everything that she does, it's just that she is female. The only difference really is that she shows some... Actually, no, they're pretty much exactly the same. What am I saying? No, they're exactly the same. Because I was about to say, like, she shows some tinge of selfishness, lying to protect himself. But Nathan Drake is shown to do the exact same thing. Yeah, they're the exact same person. It's just that Chloe is a female version. Nadine Ross was definitely cool, and it was nice to interact with her and to see her being on our side and seeing the fun side of her. It was very cool and a good idea for them to bring her back. And Sam Drake was definitely appreciated, as he was much well received comedic relief. So we definitely enjoyed having him there. But yeah, no, Chloe's definitely become Nathan in this game, because if you consider the previous game, one of the issues that she had, I think it was particularly in Uncharted 2, was that Chloe herself didn't want to go back and help and save the people. But by the end of the game, you will realize that Chloe is definitely much more of a hero now, and she's no longer a selfish scumbag type of person. There's some solid character development over here, and you're definitely going to enjoy the experience. She has definitely become a much more likable and less selfish character, and it's well appreciated as we see some substantial character growth especially the relationship between Chloe Fraser and Nadine Ross. So it's cool to see them bond and become stronger and maybe even friends. We'll see what happens. Okay, so in terms of gameplay time, if you definitely view this as some standalone DLC, it is definitely a substantial extra little bit of a couple extra bytes of content that you'll be able to enjoy. And if you want a little bit more of Uncharted 4, you're going to be happy with this, definitely. Now, if we look over on PS deals and we consider the price, of course the situation has changed quite a wee bit, because you're no longer able to procure Uncharted Lost Legacy individually as on its own. It's now bundled up with Uncharted 4. So whether you are picking this up on the PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, you will be getting both packages involved over here. So let's look over here on PlayStation deals over here, and we'll consider the prices that are available to us. Now, if you're over here down in South Africa, you'll be able to pick up the Uncharted Legacy of Thieves collection for 359 Rand. If you, of course, make the intelligent decision to watch out for a good sale, a favorable sale, you can definitely get it for a price that's not going to hurt the bank in any way. Of course, if you haven't experienced this game at all, you haven't played Uncharted 4 before either, this is a very easy buy and smart decision if I were you. Definitely, no doubt about it, brother. No doubt about it. Now, if you're over in the US, you can, if you of course also watch out for a good sale. On normal price, it is $49.99, but if you check out for a good sale, you'll be able to pick it for a decently low price of $19.99, $20, and you'll be able to play these two great experiences. Most definitely, you're not going to regret it at all. And of course, if you're over on PlayStation Plus, you'll be able to pick up and play these games. It's included in your package, so you will not have to pay an extra dime at all. Now, if you're thinking of choosing or looking for another game in the PlayStation collection that you're looking to play, you're looking for something decent that's not going to take you too long but will have a decent experience, this is an easy play. You're not going to be wasting your time at all if you do end up choosing to play Uncharted Lost Legacy. A solid and truly enjoyable experience right over here. Now guys, let me give you my overall thoughts on the entire experience. We've considered the value. It's definitely value for money, especially if you pick it up on a sale. If you do not pick it up on a sale, I would have to be honest, this is not worth it. Or if you're not playing this on PS Plus, it's probably not the best way to go. I personally was very interested in this title because I had but at the time I'd played through the entire Uncharted series and ended with Uncharted 4, and I was, ended up really loving and enjoying the series. So Uncharted Lost Legacy was a game that I was really interested in, hoping to finish and experience finally. And when I did, I definitely was happy that I finally got around to it. Now, if I'm going to give this game a complete rating out of 10, and this is in terms of value and everything, and as a patient gamer, I'll be honest with you, compared to the previous Uncharted game, games, it doesn't hit the mark. Of course, it's standalone and DLC expansion. So if we're considering this and we view it in that sense as a DLC expansion, I will give it a solid 8 out of 10. Compared to other DLC expansions and the standalone titles, this is definitely a high quality title. It's very rare for extra content to be at such a high quality level and a decent price at this level. It's very rare to come across that, because that's really all I can say. It's rare to come across a package that's so good in that sense. Now, if we were to consider this a game on its own as an individual title, not as an extension of Uncharted 4, if we were to review it and see it as a game on its own, just as is, the length leaves quite a bit to be desired. And the set pieces, are decent, but it's how do I put it? It's more so of the things you would find in an older title, not compared to the height of the new Uncharted games. So if we're to consider it as a game on its own, I'd have to perhaps give it a 6.87 out of 10. Definitely between in that region. It's difficult for me to decipher. But when you finally see this video, I'll have a more distinct rating. You'll see it in the text over there. I'll give you the rating down there. But yeah, definitely I'm leaning more towards that type of rating. No hate at all for what they've produced. They've gave us some really good content, but it's important that we keep it honest and let everybody know what they're getting themselves into. So yeah, most definitely, man. If you haven't picked this up or haven't played it yet, I would highly recommend that you do. You will not regret it. Enjoyable experience. Definitely hop into it as soon as you can. So yeah, bro, I'm enjoying myself as I did before. As I mentioned before, I'm definitely going to sink my teeth into a number of more titles. So yeah, bros, take it easy. Enjoy your day, man, and just take it easy, bro. Definitely more content is on the way. Stay tuned.